right. Well, good morning, Messiah. Happy February 22nd. It is National Margarita Day. And wouldn't you know it, we're talking about demonic influences and temptations this morning. Make of that what you will, folks. But yes, that is our series, the C.S. Lewis series. It's all about demonic influence and temptation. This past Wednesday, Pastor Jim kicked us off in this series about C.S. Lewis's The Screwtape letters. And if you haven't read the book, the story revolves around a demon named Screwtape writing letters of advice to a younger demon on how to influence people. Specifically, they are trying to influence a man who they refer to as the patient. What this Screwtape Letters book does is it gives us a kind of behind-the-scenes look at how the devil wants to influence us and tempt us. And so each week we're going to be examining different letters from this story. And today we're looking at letter 10. And the theme of letter 10 is all about our community, about the people that we spend our time with. Now at this point in the story, we've kind of skipped ahead a bit getting to letter 10. But by this point in the story, our patient, has become a Christian. And of course, this is a problem for the two demons, yet they see an opportunity in a few new friends that this man has gotten. They like these two new friends, and they hope that these new friends can counter the influence on this man that the church is starting to have on this man. But before I dig into the nature of these friends and what they're like, I want to zoom out of the story for a second and talk about here. Because with this theme of community, well, we should ask, what is our community like? What is this community of St. Charles like? Now, for the seminary, I had to do a demographics project where I looked at information on St. Charles County as a whole, but also on kind of this western half of St. Charles, right in that area where a lot of our members come from. I live in that area. I'm sure a lot of you live in that area. And here's what the data said. As a whole, when you look at median household income, St. Charles County is the wealthiest county in the state of Missouri. And specifically in our little western half of St. Charles, we're actually declining in households that make under $150,000 and increasing in households that make over $150,000. When it comes to education, 54% of our population has at least an associate's degree, which is quite a bit higher than the state average of 40%. And when it comes to age, we're getting older. In 2010, the average age was 35. Now the average age is 41. And the fastest growing age demographic in our area is 65 plus. So what does that mean? It means that St. Charles is wealthy, smart, and getting older. Now let's get back to the Screwtape letters. We could do a whole series probably dissecting just that data right there, but let's get back to the Screwtape letters. Our man has found himself some new friends. And so who are these bad influences that the demons want him spending time with? Screwtape says this. He says, I gather that the middle-aged couple who called at the man's office are just the sort of people we want him to know. Rich, smart, superficially intelligent, and brightly skeptical. Besides that part about being skeptical, that description hits a bit close to home in this area. Apparently, C.S. Lewis thinks that wealthy, well-educated, middle-aged people are bad influences. And before you start throwing the eggs at me and storming out of the building, I wouldn't be surprised if you had some pushback for C.S. Lewis here, myself included. I'm on the verge right now of completing a 4-year master's program, okay? I've gone full tilt into becoming superficially intelligent. Pastor Jim will say, emphasis on the superficial. But I get it, right? My point is that some of you might feel a bit called out by C.S. Lewis's description of these bad influences. And I'm not going to say he's not calling us out. But I do want to make a clarification. When you look at the New Testament, what you will see is that there are wealthy, well-educated people that are considered disciples of Jesus. Joseph of Arimathea is a prime example. He's the guy who donated his tomb for Jesus to be buried in. Joseph is described as a disciple, but also as someone who was rich and who was well-educated enough to serve on the Sanhedrin, which was the Jewish judicial body back then. Lydia, the Greek woman Lydia, another great example. She was a dealer in luxury cloth. She made enough money to help Paul start a church in Greece. And so having money and being educated by themselves do not make you of the devil. And I think C.S. Lewis would agree. Because the real problem he highlights in the story is not just money or education. The problem is how these affect you and your relationship with other people. These new friends that the demons like so much are not just rich and educated. They think that because of that, they're better than others. They consider themselves to be social elites. And because of that, they have separated themselves from common everyday people. They only want to be around other people like them. And for our Christian man in the story, the demons hope that the more time he spends with these new friends, the more he will identify with them and the more he will become like them. The demons want to separate him from his church over here with all these regular people by enticing him with this impressive community of elite people. What's happening is that the demons are tempting the man to crave a place in the culture more than he craves a place in God's kingdom. The temptation of social status. The temptation of walking in the right circles. And it's not just a problem for a fiction novel. This is actually a problem that we see in the early church itself. I don't know what part of the Bible C.S. Lewis had in mind when he wrote Letter 10, but I think he had in mind the church in Corinth. And the church in Corinth, out of all the churches in the New Testament, I think looks the most like ours. Because just like St. Charles County, Corinth was a wealthier city. And because of that, many of their members, or at least a good number of their members, were of the wealthier social elites of the area. And just like our church as well, though, there were many members who were not wealthy and who were not part of the social elite. And a problem began to arise between these two groups of people. You see, the wealthy social elites created a clique among themselves. They wanted to separate themselves from their other brothers and sisters over there, from the common folk in the church. And it became evident during communion, during the Lord's Supper. And Paul calls them out for this. He calls them out for this cliquish behavior. He says this, he says, "In the following directives, I have no praise for you, for your meetings do more harm than good. In the first place, I hear that when you come together as a church, there are divisions among you, and to some extent, I believe it. So then when you come together, it's not the Lord's Supper that you eat. For when you are eating, some of you go ahead with your own private suppers. As a result, one person remains hungry and another gets drunk. Don't you have homes to eat and drink in, or do you despise the church of God by humiliating those who have nothing?" What's going on is this clique of the rich social elites in the church are hoarding the Lord's Supper for themselves, getting full and getting drunk off of it while letting everybody else have nothing. And when Paul sees their character at the dinner table, he sees the character of their hearts. That these wealthy, social elite Christians do not care for the other people in their church. The only ones they are looking out for are themselves. And this gets to the heart of the temptation in our letter. You see, the devil wants to use your worldly status symbols, things like your money, your education, your zip code, your job, the school that your kids go to. He wants to use these things to convince you that you're somehow better than other people. Jesus actually had a great story that speaks into this. It's the parable of the Pharisee and the tax collector. It's a pretty simple parable. There's two guys, a socially elite Pharisee and a sinful tax collector. And these two guys show up to the temple at the same time. And when the social elite Pharisee sees the tax collector, he prays to God and says, "Dear God, thanks for not making me like that guy. Amen." This is the attitude that the devil wants you to have towards your neighbors. This is how he wants you to see other people. He wants you to show up here on Sunday mornings, look around you and think, yeah, this place is fine and the people are okay, but they're not really worth my time. I've got better places to be and I've got better people to be around. My Sunday mornings are better spent with the boys at the golf course, impressing the higher ups, not leading my family to worship in their church. My success comes first. My income and my wealth comes first. But God and serving others, well, that stuff, that can come later when I'm retired. We all feel that desire to be part of the rich, the smart, the successful, the elite team. And maybe here's the stronger temptation, that some of us might not want that stuff for ourselves, but man, we feel that pressure to bend over backwards to do it for our kids, don't we? Yet when those things become our priority, what ends up happening is we distance ourselves from the people that gather here. Both Paul and C.S. Lewis see the devil at work in this. And yet there is, I don't know if you picked up on it, there is a key difference between the problem that C.S. Lewis highlights and the problem that Paul highlights. Because for Paul, what he wants is to divide the church. He wants to divide two groups of people. For C.S. Lewis, the devil wants to divide your heart. He wants to divide you from the church. He wants you to care about people only as long as they make you look good. He wants you to define your identity by your place in the culture over your place in God's kingdom. And if he can do that, if those worldly attributes we've been talking about become your prime motivator, if those become the defining characteristics of who you are, you will split from the people here and start identifying more with those out there than the people gathered here. And so I think that to fight the devil in this, I think we need a reminder of who we are and who the people sitting next to us are. You see, the devil wants you to think that the people in this room are just another one of those optional communities in your life. That you've got your team, your clubs, you've got your church, and they're all kind of mixed up together. And I can choose which one is more important to me. But that's not true at all. because God's church is not just another club. It's not just another community. It's not just another team. God's church is a family. The very first terms that Christians used to refer to each other was brother and sister. And Paul wrote about this family quality of the church in one of his letters. He said it like this. He said that in love, God predestined us for adoption into sonship and daughterhood through Jesus Christ in accordance with his pleasure and will. You see, what's really happened here is that Jesus has made us into a family of adopted brothers and sisters, each of you chosen by God, handpicked by him, and given a place in his home. And yes, some of us went off to college and got nice jobs, and some of us didn't. Some of us made it big, while others of us are living a more simple life. But no matter where you are now, we were all orphans once. We all come from the same broken background as everyone else here. And just like everyone else here, by God's grace, you've been given a family. You've been given a home. And I don't know how you were raised, but I was raised to believe that family matters. Now, of course, family comes with struggles. I'm not going to look at this through rose-colored glasses here. Sometimes family means showing up to things you wish you could avoid, things you wish you could do something else during. Your grandma or your aunt invites you over to dinner, and you're like, do I have to go again? Just saw you last month. Family means dealing with the dumb decisions of the younger members and putting up with the stubbornness of the older members. Family is not perfect. But I think that with family, the blessings far outweigh the struggles. And I know that not every one of you here came from a good family. And so I want to tell you today what family is supposed to look like and what this family, this church, is supposed to look like. The first thing I'd tell you is that family means having a place to belong. It's like the story of the prodigal son. The guy goes off, makes the biggest mistakes of his life, blew all of his money out in Vegas, ends up living on the streets. And what does he do when he has nowhere else to go? He goes back to his father's house because he knows that if everyone else in this world would reject him, his father won't. If he can't belong anywhere else, that's okay. He has a family to belong to here. Family means forgiving each other. It's like the time Peter asked Jesus, how many times should I forgive my brother when he sins against me? Should I just forgive him 7 times? And Jesus said, no, don't just forgive him 7 times, forgive him 77 times. How many of you here have a brother? Okay. Well, if your relationship with your brother is like me, I'm going to guess you have had to forgive each other of a lot over the years. You've had some conflicts that you've had to offer grace for. And here's the thing, between my brother and I think it might be this way with your brother too, when we forgive each other, it's not because the other guy deserved it, because in my mind, he didn't deserve it. We don't forgive each other because we deserved it. We forgive each other because we're brothers, because we're family. And when it comes to family, forgiveness triumphs over grudges. That might be how it works with the people out there. It's not the way that it works here. Family means having people who take care of you. It's like the story of the feeding of the 5,000. Jesus is on the edge of the lake one day, and a giant crowd of people show up to learn from him. And they stay all day long. Nighttime has come, and people are hungry. And the disciples say, hey, send them away so that they can go find something to eat. And Jesus says, no, we're not going to send them off to fend for themselves. We're going to take care of them. We're going to make sure that they're fed. God has made his church a place to belong, a place where we receive forgiveness, a place where we are taken care of by each other. And so you have to show up. You have to be part of the family for the beauty and the magic to happen. God needs you here to show your brothers and sisters that they do have a place to belong, to show them that they can be forgiven and not just avoided, to show them that they will be taken care of when they're in need. And that blessing is not just for you to give, it is also for you to receive. Because when you make the biggest mistake of your life, when you blow it all and don't know where else to go, you still belong here with your family. And when you've hurt someone and you wonder how you're doing with them, you receive forgiveness. You are restored yourself. And when you are the one in need, when you're the one who's grieving, when you're the one who's feeling lost, when you are the one praying for a miracle, we're here to take care of you, to look out for you. And so here we are, this rich, highly educated, middle-aged area of St. Charles. And some of us here fit that description and some of us don't. But that's the whole point. That's the beauty of what we have here. It's the wealthy and the needy coming together. It's the white collar and the blue collar coming together, the young and the old coming together, because that's what family is. We show up for each other. The devil wants to split you in two, just like he tried to split the Corinthians in two. But to that same church that faced so much division, Paul reminded them that we were all baptized by one Spirit so as to form one body, one family, whether Jews or Gentiles, slave or free. God made us into one people. And in a world where we have to earn our place, we have been given a home and a family to belong to freely. You don't need 6 figures. You don't need a college education. You don't need a letter of recommendation. No, for those who were baptized into Christ, you have a home here. Brothers and sisters, it's good to see you today.